Tonight, what an excellent day for a podcast has a few simple questions for all you horror fiends. What goes through a woman's mind when all of Miles County sees the monster you become just because you chose family over acing the midterms? What kind of rush do you get when you fight your way to the demon hole and blow the hell out of it? Well, maybe. And who would have thought that taking your life would be the second worst thing you do with a piece of broken mirror? Well, luckily tonight, these horror nerds have someone who just might have some answers. The one person who would actually make Art the Clown yell, "What the fuck?" Please welcome Samantha Scaffidi.
Did he
Hello.
nail the last name?
You nailed it. Yeah, that was perfect.
Love it.
Also, very
Love it.
funny. Very good. That's
Love
also
it.
that's a difficult delivery. I just thought you were gonna say, "Hey, it's Samantha Scaffidi plays Victoria."
Nah, we overthink things.
We
so.
like, yeah, we
Oh,
like
I
to have
love it.
some
I'm
fun
in
with
good
that.
company. That's me.
We had to put the shard of glass in there somewhere.
No, listen, I'm always usually bringing it up on the conversations because no one wants to start. So
We go right into it.
beautiful.
Ah. So I guess for your situation in general in this franchise, who do you blame? Your horny roommate or your sister?
I actually blame the horny roommate,
All right.
which is hilarious that you said that because everyone's like, "Oh, the sister of the midterms," and I'm like, if it wasn't for that, you know,
Yeah,
well,
you.
I don't want to slut shame her, but if it wasn't. No, if it wasn't for my roommate, my beautiful,
She was being a college student.
yes, she was having a good time, and I'm just a repressed Catholic,
Just-
probably.
just some nerd.
Yeah.
So how did the Terrifier movie, how did it land in your lap and kind of take us through that process?
Yeah, so I did a film with Gino Caffarelli, who was the owner in the pizza parlor in the first film. And when Damien was looking for actors and actresses, he asked Gino, and Gino put forth my name, and I auditioned and happened to get the part.
How
Okay.
cool was it when he first met David Howard Thornton? Just kind of seeing him in the art makeup and all that, and working alongside him.
Oh, he's so sweet. Like, I feel like the first thing he's like, "Oh, hello," and he has this like Alabama. I can't even do the accent. I'm terrible at it, but he does like an Alabama accent. And he's a sweet. He's just very well. He still is the same, if not kinder. But when we first started off, he was really talkative and sweet. It was very weird and jarring to hear him while wearing that mask. But yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's like a complete 180 of art. So what demons he's fighting from childhood, we'll never know.
that's what I say. It's the stuff that you can't see that's coming out
Yeah.
in the characters.
Yeah.
I can identify with that.
You know what I never understood, Samantha? So why did Victoria team up with Art? I mean, he chewed your face off.
Well, to be fair, Victoria didn't really have a choice in the matter.
I was always curious about that.
Well,
No,
I
there
guess
is a,
technically that wasn't Vicky though. That was
No, that wasn't
at that
Vicky.
point it was the demon.
yeah. So basically, she was so brutalized from the trauma and from the disfigurement and, from the ridicule from the reporter that she descended into madness. And then that weakened her enough for the entity to come and take control of her body. And then there's like a distinct moment where Victoria is no longer in the body, and that's when she's in the tub and she's slitting her wrists. And
Yes.
that's when Victoria's released. So from the moment
Okay.
her eyes light up in part two at the end, that's when she's possessed. So Vicky was fighting, but Vicky is not Sienna in this instance, so she lost the battle.
Mm.
Yeah. So it wasn't Victoria with Art the Clown. It was this entity,
The entity.
this
Okay.
nameless entity.
Name was entity. Pazuzu, maybe? A little relationship to Exorcist. I love demonic
Possibly.
possession, so I absolutely love Vicky in these movies. I love the look, I love the makeup, I love it all. So
Oh, I was in love with the look too. I wasn't in love with wearing all of it, but I was definitely in love with the look.
yeah.
Amazing people when Damien's creating it and Christian Tinsley's collaborating. I mean, you can't go wrong. So definitely
How long
watch.
did it take to put the makeup on?
6 to 8 hours. Yeah. And I think
Which-
going back to like not having an eye, I think that was probably the most brutal part because I think about 20 hours every day that I was filming, I could only see out of one of the
Yeah.
eyes. And then basically it's like looking like through this. And then once you have the pop-in eye in, it's like looking through a straw. So I'm basically legally blind
Yeah.
and throughout the whole day and throughout my scenes.
Anybody
Yeah.
try to fuck with you and like jump out from this side or something?
No, 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 no. The problem is there were certain instances where I'm like, can someone please help me? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
they're like, all right, next. I'm like, okay, someone's gonna have to bring me back to the room. No, everyone was actually really kind and helpful. I feel like they felt extremely bad for me.
Yeah, because I meant to ask about that too, because over the years I've dabbled in some makeup stuff, very low grade, whatever. But once or twice I did where I had my eye popped out.
Ooh.
And I went to a Halloween party, so I probably spent about 6 hours blind in one eye, and I swear half the next day, like you still had that differential in light
Mm,
between the two eyes. So I could only imagine for the hours, not only were you in the makeup, but
mm.
you finish up one day, you got to do it all again. Like, yeah,
Oh yeah,
I,
and
I, I
you have, and it's such a quick turnaround too, because they were pre-calling me with the special effects before anyone else was at set, because it was 6 to 8 hours, but 6 to 8 hours is like a shoot day,
Mhm,
so we'd have to get pre-called, then do the shoot day,
mhm.
and then 2 hours out of makeup. But I did about 14 days, and it was funny because after I was shooting, my eye had gotten so used to being closed that I'd wake up some mornings and it would stay shut, and I'd have to just go like this. But it took like a month or so for it finally to go back to normal, and now my eye's totally fine. But for sure, it was adjusting back was a challenge.
So we heard, or I remember hearing in an interview with Damien, he was saying kind of from the point he was doing the first movie, somewhere between All Hallows Eve and the first Terrifier, he already had a storyline written out for Sienna, like that whole arc or whatever.
Mhm.
So going into the first movie, did he mention anything about plans to pursue your character?
No, actually, I feel like how I remember it is every movie that we did, I was supposed to die. And then there was always like a change in the script. So I feel like someone really wanted me to be a part of like the success of three, because in two, we shot a scene with Jericho where it was art was coming out of the back of my head, which would have just, killed my character off. But then Malignant came out, and I got an email from Damien that's like, we need to reshoot, or even a text, we need to reshoot. Like, I need to go back to the
Interesting.
drawing board. We need to reshoot. So we actually went and did like 2 or 3 day pickup of just birthing him out that way. So that for some reason with that big head was enough to keep me alive, and then I think inspired Damien to kind of take it in this other direction.
That would have been interesting though to have art like almost like that Malignant, because that's pretty cool. It's a great movie, Malignant. So that's
Well, it's
kind of a
crazy
cool
because
concept.
we actually shot that before Malignant came out, and it was just the weirdest. Like that's just like a moment in time where you're like, if that didn't come out, if it wasn't almost identical, my character in three would have been very different. He definitely would have. Damien's a genius, so he would have figured out a way that would have been just as good, I imagine, but it would have been different for sure.
James Wan stole it.
What?
So
Is that
there's a way you
fair?
could possibly take credit that giving birth to Art's head allowed Terrifier to become the #1 movie in the country.
Birthing his head?
Yeah.
Well, I like to think that, Damien's got magic in a bottle and he's a genius and he would have figured it would have been different, but I like to think that, yeah, that whatever we did on this film, it reached the success it did because of how we landed. But we can't know, right? We can't know what it would have been.
Has he given any whispers, or I don't know what you can or can't discuss, as to how? I mean, Art got his head back, so
Oh,
is that pool of acid ever going to?
people keep asking me, they're like, "Are you going to be in four?" And I'm like, I thought I was like dead, and I am very dead. But Damien does. I know Damien hasn't started writing it fully. Like he's already got the ideas. He knows where it's going.
Mhm.
Um, but he said, you never know. And I still don't. I don't think he knows per se if there'll be because I can come back in a cameo. Vicky could still be a part of the storyline. Who knows? But I literally have no idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do like a Hellraiser with Frank, just like grow back.
There you go.
Well,
Just kinda-
maybe David could birth me this time. Maybe.
I mean, fair is fair.
Anything can happen. I think yeah. I've been put through hell. It's terrible.
And also, if I heard correctly, I caught an interview from, I guess it was right after the first movie came out, and you said you weren't like you had a respect for horror, but you weren't necessarily a fan. So did Damien pull you into the dark side yet, or are you
I
still
think,
just
well, definitely the dark side, the dark's in me, and now it's just being ignited. No, I didn't grow. It wasn't that I wasn't a fan. I guess I just grew up on like Goodfellas, My Cousin Vinny, like
Mhm.
Godfather,
Oh,
like all these other,
classic.
yeah, like all the New York Italian films I just rail off, but classics. But that was like my upbringing. So I'd watch it when I was in high school just to like get scared or have an excuse to cuddle up with a boyfriend, just, without, I was just very ignorant to the genre.
Mhm.
And yeah, of course, being in relation to Damien has definitely opened me up because seeing his passion has, kind of made me like, oh, there's something there. But then I think doing the convention circuits with Terrifier the last couple of years and meeting fans and asking the question ignorantly and saying like, what is it about Terrifier? What is it about horror? What about the violence? Like, what is it that, you love about it? And hearing their answers and connecting to them, I started to discover that like I was missing out on something. And I've, has started taking like a list of names of films to watch, and I've been watching them, and I'm just like, holy shit, what did I like? What did I just like stumble upon?
Well,
Could
there's
you?
horror movies, right? And then there's Terrifier, right? So when
I
I
know.
mean, really, art kind of just takes it to another level at
Yeah.
that point.
I
I
feel like
mean,
I'm in the deep end,
yeah, yeah,
Like,
you're far into the deep
yeah,
end.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
like you're way out there.
Yeah, like I'm like ultra violence, like trying to find out like what the hell is it about this that's, connecting people. But
I mean, when you do the first one, right, and you're seeing this all play out, right, and you see Damien's artwork at hand, are you like, what the fuck, or are you just like,
no, it's funny when I read the script, I was like, what the fuck when I read the first one. And I remember being like, oh, I can't do this. Like, how do I tell this person who just gave me the role that like, oh, I was like, I'm busy. I've got other things. I had nothing going on.
I got church that day?
Yeah, exactly. But because something Damien had said recently that really hit me was, you don't read art on the page. Like you read it and it just feels like violent and sadistic because you don't know what him and David are gonna do with art. So it's just like, and he writes everything out, like however he envisions it, it's there on the page. Besides the masturbation scene, that said,
We'll get to
sorry,
that.
Yeah, we have to talk about that one.
that wasn't really fully written out. But but I ended up taking the role because I was like, I'm not doing anything else, and he seems like a nice guy. And then I literally thought I was like, no one's gonna see it. Like it'll just, I'll take the check, no one's gonna see it. But then I saw it for the first time in theaters, and I was like, what the fuck did we shoot? And every time I do a Terrifier movie, I'm like, how did he do that? Like I was just so massively impressed from like a filmmaking standpoint, and just knowing what we had and what he did with it, I was just like, I'm in.
Yeah. It's amazing what David brings to life without speaking, right? Just his body mannerisms. It's like watching a mime up there, right? And
Yeah.
every movie he just gets more, and like Terrifier 3, he's like, it's almost comedic,
It's
just kind of,
amazing.
yeah. So it's he makes it, and he's a horror icon now.
Yeah.
When you look at like, Jason, Freddy, Michael Myers, I mean, Art the Clown is there. He's
Oh, it
right up
is. It's
there now,
crazy.
so.
I'm seeing the Funko Pops. I'm seeing
Yeah.
I see the Art the Clown in the background. He's-
Oh
I was
yeah.
gonna say
it's amazing.
he's
David's
basically
an amazing. Sorry.
I was gonna say he's basically taken over Spirit Halloween now.
Oh my God. I was like, I saw Spirit right around where I was living, and I was like, oh, I'll just go into the store and like see if they have any merch. And it was like on the front of the building. It was insane. I was like literally the outfit and the glasses. But no, I was just saying that Dave's an amazing person. He's a really humble,
Yeah.
kind person, as I had mentioned before, but also super talented. Like it's so exhausting, like to do that type of acting, that physical comedy, and
Mhm.
he just can go, 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 and like some of the stuff that he just keeps pulling out, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went and got
Oh my God, that looks like
Last night.
literally like a poster on your arm. That's like
Yeah.
so beautiful, and it like pops.
Yeah, I just got it touched up last night, so it's fresh.
He
See,
did
I
it.
think
He
that
did it
was
for you,
cool.
Samantha.
I said Samantha's coming on. I gotta get my Art the Clown.
Oh, hell
tattoo,
yes.
so.
It's beautiful. No, it's funny
Thank
because
you.
a lot of people are showing me Vicky tattoos lately, and I am so honored. But I'm also like, oh, the art, but she's fucking ugly.
See, I think
That's
she's
why
beautiful.
they do it.
She's fucking ugly. No, but I love it. It's amazing. It's wild, but I've seen some amazing tattoos. Someone had me do the Vicky and the art in the heart on their leg so they could get it tattooed at a convention, and I thought that was wild.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, the recent one, we were just at the recent one. They had the
PA.
whole like, they had the whole like aisle of tattoo artists, and everybody was getting the
Wow.
signature and then running over there and getting
So
everything
crazy.
tatted on, which is pretty cool.
It's
The
so
horror
wild.
community is it's a family, but we are a strange group.
I love it though. I love it
It
because
is.
I feel so welcomed and like
Yeah.
also just everyone is just honest and like
Yeah.
brave and like telling their stories, but why they love horror. And it's the most loyal fan base. I mean, the only reason why we're as successful as we are is because of the fans. I mean, it's obviously Damien, the creative, the genius, and them really hustling for 10 years to like get it out there.
Mhm.
But it's the fans that just keep coming back. I met someone who literally told me 3 weeks ago that they had seen the movie 26 times in theaters.
Oh my
Dude.
God.
Had all of his pay stubs or his stubs, his ticket stubs.
Oh my
I was
God.
like, no wonder why we're doing so well.
26 times?
Yeah, 26 times. That was 3 weeks ago, and he still had plans to go even
At $37 a
That's-
ticket, yeah.
That's 26 boxes of snow caps. To
Yeah.
I
find.
literally said to him, I was like, please just wait. The movie's almost out on
Yeah.
streaming, but yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to cap myself at 3 because mortgage was due. So
Yeah. Also, pay.
So-
Wait, it's coming. It's already here now. Look, it's already arrived.
yeah,
When did it drop? It drops on what?
Today.
I think it dropped
Today,
today.
today is digital. When is
You
the
could-
Blu-ray?
you could buy it on Amazon now.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I'm a
I believe
physical media
next
guy.
month.
I'm old school.
Yeah.
I like to have
I
that.
just bought a DVD player because there's some movies I couldn't get that weren't on like streaming that I have to get in order to watch on DVD. I had a DVD player, but it broke, so I just so I'm with you on that.
Yeah. So Samantha, you mentioned that you started to watch a little bit more horror. Could I ask what you're giving a go? I mean, what horror movies
I was
you
literally thinking as you said, I was like, what did I do?
Sorry to put you
man.
on the spot.
Shit,
No,
what
no,
hole
no.
did I dig
My-
myself
this is usually
into?
when my brain just shuts off. No, I mean, I saw Rosemary's Baby like a year ago.
Okay.
Um,
Classic.
The Fly. Damien had me watch The Fly.
Oh.
Yeah, that was such a brutal movie. So
Did that
beautiful.
explain some of his psychosis?
Oh, I was like, definitely. Actually,
Jeff
now that I
Goldblum
think
was
about it-
great in that movie too.
Who was Jeff?
Jeff Goldblum was great in
Yeah,
that
yeah.
movie as the Fly. You know, he kind of
Oh.
brought that to life.
Gina Davis, though.
Gina Davis, yeah,
Oof.
yeah.
That's a brutal movie, though. That really upset me a lot, in a good way. Man. I also have just been trying to get into newer horror too, as well, to see what's out there. I saw When Evil Lurks. I started watching that horror TV show From.
Rum is great.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
From is
I
great.
just literally right before I got on caught up. So,
Oh, so the season just
I'm all
ended,
caught up.
right?
I watched
Yeah.
it in like a week. I was like, I tend to be that
Yeah.
type of person. I binge things. There's some other classics that I have been watching, but there's a whole list. I haven't seen any Christmas horror, and a few people wrote me a list to.
Yeah.
What are you
You
talking about?
actually
You
in
were
one.
in the greatest Christmas.
No, that's what I'm saying. The only one I saw was Terrifier ever. So there's all these nods to all these great horror. You know, David's been mentioning a few, and I have a list I have to run through.
How about
But
Stream?
last 3 months have
Did you
been
see
bananas.
Stream?
What?
Did you see Stream?
No, I haven't yet. I'm terrible. I haven't even seen All Hallows Eve. That's terrible.
Oh, you
Yeah,
should say that.
I saw. I remember seeing the cover for that and constantly being told like, you might want to watch this, you might want to watch this, and then I guess Netflix or whatever it was decided to take a break and they're like, you might want to watch Terrifier, you might want to watch Terrifier, and this is probably like 2018. So I had some free time. I'm like, I'm not a huge clown movie thing. Like I'm not afraid of
Yeah.
clowns, but there aren't, in my opinion, there aren't a
You've
lot
seen one,
of
you've
great.
seen them all.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
figured, all right, I'll bite the bullet. And 5 minutes in, just with that 80s aesthetic, the way he shot that, and I was like, all right. And then, yeah, as soon as we
And
got to the
Catherine Upside
hacksaw,
Down,
yeah, as soon as we got to the hacksaw, I'm like, all right, yep, my new favorite movie. And then like a week later, I'm like, all right, All Hallows Eve.
Yeah, no, I really think though, like what I've learned is when a filmmaker loves what they do and they love that specific, well, Damien's like a horror lover, like you can it just like oozes into that. He knows like he was saying, he just puts exactly what he wants to see on the screen, and it's got to be. I mean, with nowadays, you know, we're not really. I guess there's a horror lull or something. You know, there's. It's just not the same as what I've been gathering, what I've been reading, what I've been hearing. So when someone like him comes onto the scene, he's just like with no constraints. It's like magic.
Yeah, he's a horror fan. He's a horror fan making horror movies for us horror fans, right? And they're humble about it, which I absolutely love. The independent horror movies are, I always say, Hollywood, wake the fuck up, take notice of what's happening here. Look at a movie
they are now.
right? Look at a movie like
Oh, man.
Terrifier 3.
Yeah.
coming out and doing what it's doing. I mean, even beating the Joker, right? So there is an audience for this, and I love the fact that
Massively, yeah.
he wasn't afraid to put his vision on the screen.
No,
So
that's one thing well, there's many things I respect about Damien, but he has such integrity. He trusts himself. There's so many moments he could have easily, taken the easy way out, made his life a little bit more comfortable. And, the last year and a half, 2 years, he straight out of two just killed himself to make this movie and still wasn't sleeping with the rest of all of us. Like we all were, doing everything we could to make it happen, and stay independent. And yeah, I mean, I think the last numbers that someone told me was 86 million or something crazy like that.
yeah,
Wow.
it's the highest unrated movie ever. I mean,
Yeah.
it's wild.
Well, then
Wild.
people are going to be like, well, if this can make money, then I'm sure there will be many films in the same vein that are like very gory coming out soon, not after, because of just how much money. Once it makes money, people start to follow it. So
Yeah. Do some spin-offs, right? Maybe Vicky is possessing
Yeah.
someone else, and a couple of priests come over, and we have.
well, if she's
Exorcist
possessing
3.
someone else, then you'd have to get a different. Yeah. Well, that's fine. You could get a different actor.
What
That would
was it
be-
like for you opening weekend? Because as horror fans, we were chomping at the bit to get to the theaters. But for you, what was it like to just? I'm sure there was a lot of messaging about the opening weekend and what it was about to do. What was that? Take me through that. What was that like for you?
Were you
Well,
nervous?
No, yeah, I was nervous because I knew when we went into this, I knew that whatever Damien, I saw. Okay, let's take it back. I was always nervous because Vicky was a risk in a kind of way. I trust Damien implicitly, but he was like, "Look, people are gonna love you, and they're probably gonna hate you." He's like, and it might be polarizing in that way, just because you're introducing another villain next to Art, and that's like a very delicate dance, which I think he did beautifully. But we got into Fantastic Fest in August, so we had seen it in Fantastic Fest, and then the buzz started happening. There was like beautiful press coming out of it, and I had seen it and I was blown away. I was like, holy shit, like again, how the hell did we film that? Because we had 2 million, 2 to 3 or whatever it was, but like what we filmed and what he did in like under a year is still like mind blowing. Like we thought, you would just imagine like he just put under all this pressure that it's going to be really hard for him to make something phenomenal because he doesn't even have the time. He didn't even have the time really to edit it, probably as long as he would have normally taken to edit it. So there was amazing reviews. I was blown away. And then the second festival we went to, it was Fantastic Fest. And then there was a few festivals, but then I went to Sitges. And I think I just was like in the audiences at these theaters. I had seen it twice. And we had done a few premieres in Paris, London, and you could just feel the energy in the room. So before it got released fully into theater, I had seen it about 4 times with an audience. And we just like, Damien, I remember we were in Sitges and he's like, oh my God, this is about to get crazy, I think. He's like, there's just like, they released it, I guess, in Australia, someone like passed out, hit their head. There was some coverage of that. So all this like little buzz was happening and we were just like, the energy's fucking weird right now.
Did you witness any fainting?
I saw people walk out.
Okay.
I saw a lot of people. Well, I saw a few. Sorry, not a lot. I saw like the most maybe was when we were in a 1,200 seater in Sitges. So I saw like maybe 10 people walk out. But was a massive theater. I've seen people like feel like they're gonna vomit. Damien saw someone run out in London, and then we were told someone threw up. I didn't see it, but it definitely we could feel something was going on. But to explode like this is not something I don't think any of us imagined, let alone. Still not even processing it truthfully.
Yeah. I mean, after the success of 2, I guess it was a fairly safe bet that he was at least going to get his money back. But yeah, the way it blew up is just insane. Yeah. And obviously we love that because we need more of this.
I don't want it to stop. I'm kind of concerned that it's gonna, at 4 it could be the end. So.
Well, it is the end, right? He said chapter 4.
I know he did. I'm holding out hope.
No, I Damien has always said that like every time a film has come out, it's always done better. It's always done like just even if it's a little bit. So he knew that. He knew he'd recoup the money, I think for sure, or make just as much as he did with 2. But yeah, it blew up. It absolutely blew up.
And it's a rabid fan base now for Art. So at some point he's gotta he's got to come back. Some, like Jason, like 7 years later, right? He just makes a comeback in some type of
I'm
remake
sure
or
he said
something.
there'll be iterations for sure. I mean, like,
Yeah,
I think for him, what he always talks about is the fourth and final chapter for him to feel good about it so he can move
sure.
on. Because as much as we'd love to see him make Art the Clown movies, I think that would limit also all the other amazing movies that he'll
Mm,
direct or be a
sure.
part of,
Yeah.
outside of art. But
I think that's my biggest concern. Obviously, I prefer he killed Art on a high note. Like he ended it there. As
mm.
long as he has other ideas, like he's got
Oh
to
yeah,
keep
no,
making
he's
movies.
got a plethora of ideas.
Yeah.
Oh
David's
yeah, such as
No, I can't. I've only heard a few, but no, he's a machine. He's like an artist through and through. I think a lot of people underestimate him. They think like he just happened upon this thing, but if you ever speak to him, he's just an artist and he really loves what he does and he's just got an endless imagination. So I know I'm actually really excited to see where he goes, whether it's in the horror genre or outside of it. I don't know, but I know it will be fabulous.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it does feel like he's like the great reset we need in horror. Like
Yeah.
in the past 20, 25 years, it seems like, it's, I don't want to say soft, but kind of,
Hmm.
and, relying more on the jump scares. So, I mean, well, for the most part, we're like children of the 70s and 80s. So we kind of miss that, direct to video, just
Hmm.
they're trying to outdo one another with the
Yeah.
gore and, the sensationalism. And it seems like it weaned away from a lot of that. So
Yeah.
as long as he keeps making movies, because until horror is fixed, then
Will it
yeah,
be fixed? Will I don't
I hope so. I think he's
Hello,
it feels
Hollywood.
yeah, it feels like
Well,
he's
I
opened the
listen,
floodgates.
now that it's made money, I have no doubt in my mind that there will be
Yeah.
doors open. And I know, like, even just we've met so many people who have said how inspired they are by, because that's one thing Damien is he's a boundary pusher. So, people said, no, you can't do that. And Damien's like, really? Show me where the line is. And he blew past it.
That's
So
what
I
I love
think,
about
like,
him.
it's amazing. And like I said, the integrity, because he could have taken an easy way out. He had offers, but he didn't. And I think so many people are watching this also and saying, like, yeah, why not? Like, why can't I do that?
Mhm.
And seeing what they can do on their own and not a part of the system that's going to restrict them. So, well, hopefully the system doesn't really restrict too much after this, but
Yeah.
a
Well,
lot
they
of people
realize there's an audience for it,
yeah.
right? I mean, there's an audience for it. So they see what's happening here. Hopefully, don't make the movie that, is, about a teddy bear that's made for, 15-year-olds and there's a couple of jumps.
Don't go there, JC.
We
No,
want
you
to
know what's
see,
sick is the kids want to see the violence. Like I've met so
yeah.
many kids at these conventions
We
that
want to see shards of glass and chainsaws up asses, for
amen,
Christ's sake. Let's go.
amen. Listen, amen.
We're simple people.
Let's push it. I'm with Damien. I'm like, let's push that boundary as long as it makes sense. Let's
Oh,
go.
that's awesome.
And I feel like that's one of my favorite lines that I've heard from David, that when he said when he read the original script, and I'm assuming it was for the hacksaw scene, and he was looking at him like, oh, this is great. Like, that would be awesome if, like, we could shoot any of this. And Damien's like, oh, no, we're shooting all this shit.
Yeah.
And, like, even David didn't believe it. And, yeah, again, we just need more of that.
Yeah.
He's almost like a spoiled child with the talent to back it up. Like, I want this. And then he's just going to fucking do it.
Yeah,
whether
but the
anybody
good thing
wants
is he
it or not.
doesn't. But the good thing is he doesn't wait for someone to give it to him. He's like, I want this to go get it.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I mean, I'm always amazed. I'm always amazed by what he pulls off and what he does. It's just like he's got a whole thing going on in his mind. I mean, he's that's the thing is like when I learned with him, and even on the third, there was so much trust that we had that Damien's seeing it all in the moment that you're there. He's seeing you acting, he's thinking about the music, he's thinking about how he's editing it, he's thinking about the shots. So to us, we think it's just like coverage, but he's already configuring this whole thing all at once, all at the same time in a moment. And that's the brilliance of him.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, we met him at a convention. It was a couple of years ago, and I shot my shot, Samantha. When I
You asked to get killed?
I did. I
There's
had
a
the
list.
tattoo. I said,
There's a
"Listen,
massive
David,
list of people.
I said I got the perfect kill, right? Art sees me, notices my tattoo, right? He hunts me down, he stalks me, he cuts off my arm, he
Oh my
saws
God.
the bone, and he gouges my eyes out. Let's go. But But he was so cool. I mean, he even signed some. He didn't even charge me. He's like, I just love that tattoo, and humble guy that is just
Oh,
like an
he's so
amazing
awesome.
person. So
No, what's amazing is with all this success, even after 2, but especially after 3, they're just the same amazing, humble, talented individuals. Same goes for all of, like, even Lauren and David. Like, they're fucking awesome. They're artists. They love what they do, and they're really humble and they work so hard. I think people like really go to sleep on these films and they just have these, like I said, assumptions about the people behind them. And some of the most dedicated artists who fucking love filmmaking and who really care about the fans, and it's so evident in the work.
yeah.
Now, is there a movement going on yet, or do we have to start it? Getting Lauren an Oscar for this one?
Oh my God, she should.
Because
I feel
holy
like
shit!
I don't know if there is a movement. I know there's been like whispers about it.
She was amazing. She was amazing.
She is, and I say this every time I have an opportunity to talk about Lauren. Lauren, I had the pleasure to meet on 2, but I didn't get to work with her, and I was already massively impressed. Saw 2 and was like, Damien, she's unbelievable. And then I got to work with her, and she is such a professional. She is talented, but there is like a well, like, because you got to imagine that she does a performance and you're like, okay, we got it, moving on. But Lauren's going there time and time again. She was like tied up for hours. I mean, they released her, tied her back up, but that scene at the end, she's going there and going there and going there, and it was like endless. And I've worked with so many talented actors, and I've never seen anything like that. And so that, on top of her doing most of her own stunts, like, she's a fucking force, and she definitely is a star. And I think people really realize that in 3. But I couldn't say any, like, she's just the best. She's a really, really awesome person to boot. So
It felt so bad that Art kept slapping her upside the head every time. It's like, come on, dude.
it was funny because it only shows like 3 times in the film, but Lauren definitely got hit over 30 times, and David 3 times was like, I'm sorry. She had, like, I literally have a picture of her showing me her bruise, and it's literally this big on her side, but that was just like the one that she could show me, just because she was riddled with bruises just from just like the being taped down. She had to get taped down, like, from her wrist all the way to her elbow, because she was like ripping out of any tape that they had actually taped her down with.
Well, maybe if you weren't, like, antagonizing her so much, she would have kept still.
No, she was trying to get to me so we could have our moment, because we're in
Yeah,
love.
and just that whole thing, the 2 of you in each other's faces, screaming back and forth, like, yeah, I got chills watching that.
Yeah, we had fun. That was probably the best part of all of it, was the moments, especially with the actors, because as much as I was joking about the grueling nature of the prosthetics, like, to be in those scenes with them and to work with them was definitely the highlight for sure.
What did you think about the rat scene at the end?
Classic kill.
I don't really think about these scenes. Everyone's always like, what do you think when you read it? I'm like, I don't really know if I'm processing. And I'm like, all right, cool. We're gonna do the glass scene. We're gonna do this rat scene. What do you need me to do? You want to pick this head up? Pull this umbilical cord out? Great. So it's funny. I don't really think about it until people ask me or they talk about the scene, that I actually realize what went down. And I'm like, God, Damien must fucking hate me, because my character has the most atrocious scenes. Like,
that was pretty wicked. That's up there. And I know if it made David nauseous, right, about doing a scene like that, I was like, oh wow, wonder what the rest of the crowd was like.
David got nauseous because of the vomit.
Yeah.
David, I wish it was because of the violence in the scene, but they were making cream of mushroom soup, and that was what the vomit was, and it would like explode out of a cannon and like projectile vomit. And so with that smell, and then him just not liking vomit, and then I was eating corn nuts, which is the story. I was eating corn nuts, and that smell mixed with. That's why he got sick.
I'm getting nauseous just thinking about
Yeah,
that.
he wasn't like, oh, this is horrible what we're doing to her. No, it was the vomit.
He's got to have a thing for rats, because every one of the movies has got rats everywhere. It's like
Damien.
Yeah, Damien.
He just wants me to play with them, because it's the first film. The first film, I actually went to help them out one day on a pickup where it wasn't supposed to be my hand. I think I was doing Jenna's hand, I believe, in the first one. I might be wrong about that. But I went to set and I was playing with rats. And then this time I was playing with rats as well. So maybe.
Joe goes to a theater and
yeah, one of my local theaters, I get to play with rats every showing.
Why? Are they in the theater or are they?
They're actually in the theater.
Multiple times
Someone
actually.
actually told me about that recently. They saw rats in the theater. I was like,
Yeah, his local AMC. And it seems like
Yeah.
ever since that first time, every movie he's seen at that theater has rats in the movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every time.
It's like fucking Rat-Tattoo. They're eating cheese, drinking wine.
they're actually super. They are like Ratatouille in real life, though, like in person. They like stand up. They're really adorable, except for sometimes they shit on you, and some of them have really massive balls that also rest in your hand. While so you're like trying to like somehow hide that while you're, shoving them into this. It's horrible.
Which, so to backtrack a little bit,
Wait, let's talk about rat balls. Where we going?
Told you, I'm not PG-13, so let's go.
So it's one of those, like, by the end of the movie, it's like, all right, even though, well, whatever was possessing you got killed off, I think it took most of the movie for people to accept, like, the two of you are sidekicks. Like, the two of you are basically partners in all this. But in the beginning, it's just like, all right, well, Vicky's back. She's probably just gonna, like, just like how, the credit scene, you were in there, and it's just like, all right, they're gonna finish off this scene in the beginning of the movie and move on. So I feel like, I know for me, and I think other people too, didn't really appreciate how significant your character was, to the point where just your opening scene with Jericho. Like, it wasn't until the second time I watched it, like, ripping his face off. I'm like, how the fuck did I overlook like that? Well, first of all, apparently Damien also has something about head trauma, because it seems like some of his most
There's
of
a lot
his
of
best
things
kills.
Damien's probably got going on with you.
Yeah, it's always like faces and heads getting destroyed. But were
He
you
also
ever,
like things coming out of women's, also.
and things going in guys is never mind.
I keep trying to bring it back to the Shard of Glass. You guys keep missing it. No.
Yeah, no, we're gonna go
All right.
there.
All right,
No,
yeah,
but like you were saying, I'm listening that moment where I ripped Jericho's face off. Yeah.
were you ever a fan of wrestling, or?
Oh yeah. No, 100%.
Okay.
I have two older brothers, so I grew up watching WWF before WWE.
Oh, okay.
I was like a big like Lita and the Hardy Boys like fan. Yeah, so I was like, so I saw Chris Jericho like growing up, and it was when The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H and the McMahons. So I definitely
Fangirled a little.
Oh my God, it was funny. I met him and he was so sweet. He was like, lovely to meet you, but he met me in my mask. So up until Fantastic Fest in August of this year, Chris had never seen me without my mask on. We've always had exchanges. We've acted together and gotten very close to each other, and he's never actually seen my face. So I met him on 2, and I remember we were doing a scene, and I didn't say anything to Chris because I'm not going to be like, oh my God, I actually might have just mentioned it recently to him when I was in Austin. But he was super professional, super kind, was like, are you okay? I'm going to do this to you. And I was like, oh, he's really fucking awesome. Then at one point he did put me in a chokehold, and that's the scene that didn't make the cut. And I was just like, yes.
They take
He's like,
a chair
are you okay? And I'm like, I'm great.
How many women can say they actually lifted Chris Jericho and pinned him to a wall?
Not many. Well, I don't know.
Maybe in the business, but
Yeah. No, he's really awesome, and it's definitely cool when you meet someone who you've obviously grown up watching and admire, and he's just as awesome as you'd imagine, and we had a lot of fun the times we shot, for sure.
So I'm still holding out hope that Jonathan is alive.
Stop it! You're not.
These guys are killing.
I don't know the answer on that, truthfully, because I thought it was done and done, but then Damien recently was like, "You'll find out in 4 for sure." So he kept the door open.
See?
All right. Here's my theory now, because the whole idea is the demon takes, because wasn't it either like their will is just completely destroyed, or it could be like a recently deceased person.
I think it wants to possess someone that's strong enough to hold them, like a container, like
okay,
is that person? Because Vicky's body was deteriorating because she wasn't obviously with the skin and everything like that. So a vessel has to be like weak enough for it to be possessed, but then that doesn't mean the body can hold per se. So
okay,
I think that was the whole point of why she wanted to specifically get Sienna, because she was strong enough.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, not enough. Or no, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, just strong enough to not
Yeah,
get
she
taken
withheld it the
over.
first time. If she didn't open the goddamn present,
Yeah.
there might
Yeah.
have been a chance.
Yeah.
So
But
you got
I was also trying to weaken her by killing off her whole family, Jonathan, Gabby. I
Yeah.
was about to kill Gabby because if I
Yeah.
take everything that she has from her, like I did to Victoria, I could break her down enough.
got
Didn't you
stabbed
read
in
the
the-
script?
you
Okay.
got stabbed in the chest. You got stabbed through the mouth, and then off with the head, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm
Didn't
saying.
you-
And then I melted into the ground. Damien's like, we're done with Sam by now. I'm gonna kill her. She doesn't have to wear that mask again. She'll be happy.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you read the script? Gabby is a sneaky little shit.
Yeah. That's the thing I loved especially about 3 with all these little kind of comebacks, which it was like the rat in the
Yep.
beginning.
Yep.
When he does the eyes with the oh my God, Mia in the shower.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Gabby with the presents. It's a nice little payoff.
Yep.
So you and Art hibernated for a bit in the Amityville Horror House for a while there, hanging out.
Yeah.
I love
We
that it
did.
had the eye window. That was cool.
I said to Damien, I was like, so what is in this tub? Because I was like, is this my own feces? Like, is this?
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. What the hell were you
Oh
marinating in?
God, what was it in
I
that
was
tub?
in real life. It was gluten-free brownie batter because I have a gluten allergy, and we thought Damien was going to make me eat it. So when we found out Damien wasn't going to make me eat it, they put dead flies and wood chips in it. So it smelled amazing, but it was disgusting. So, but in real life, I assumed it was like decay and a whole lot of things mixed in. So
Just a lot of DNA from God knows what.
Oh jeez, marinating for quite some time. So
5
so
years.
so we're at that scene, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's time. I think it's time.
What
to
scene are you talking
start.
about, JC? I don't
My
know.
father's probably gonna watch this, so hi, Dad.
So that happened.
Now.
That really happened. What was your reading that and just kind of playing that out? What was that?
Because you
Was
said
that
he
like
kept it.
Was that like a holy shit moment? What are you
No,
fucking asking
no.
me to-
But at this point, like I said, I'm not really reading what's on the page. It's not computing. Like obviously I was preparing. I was making decisions as an actor. But I think when I read these very technical graphic scenes, I just trust Damien, and I'm committed. I'm on this film, so whatever he's down to do, I'm down to do as long as it makes sense and it's there for a reason. And Damien is always trying to protect the characters, so I only said this once before, but I was like, when she gets in the tub, is her dress disintegrated off, and is she naked? And Damien's like, we're not doing that. He's like, we're not. You're not.
Wait, he has a line?
He literally said, he goes, this is why I love him, because everyone's like, thinks he's misogynistic, but he said, he's like, out of respect for Victoria, I don't want to do that. We're not going there. So when it's in the script, I trust Damien implicitly. So I was like, okay, I will, like, there's a reason for it. And to me, that's like the embodiment of evil. Like, she literally gets pleasure out of the suffering of another individual, literally. So to me, it just made sense. I didn't really think about it, but in the script, it did say, like, will be done tastefully, in parentheses.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I don't know how that's going to be done tastefully, but it will be done tastefully.
Which is weird, because I remember walking out of the theater the first time. I'm like, that was a tasteful masturbation scene.
It was. The gasps though in the theater when that
Oh.
scene, it was like
Which is funny because I'm like, you don't see anything. You know what I mean? It's just.
no.
But I think that's the imagination is active in that
Yeah.
moment. It's funny. I've had a lot of people come up to me and say that was a scene that like they were like, it got them. So I was like, good.
Has
There was a lot of
brought,
jaw drops.
Yeah,
for
has
sure.
anybody brought any shards of glass to get signed at any conventions yet?
Oh yeah, I signed got glass. We've coined a word, Glassturbator.
Glassturbator,
Glassturbator
alright.
time. Someone has, Rick, who's the selfie guy in the second film. He makes these like little boards that have Vicky plus Art with the blood, and then there's like a little shard of glass on the side. So there, and I know someone's making shards of glass now to get signed. But yeah, it's listen. We knew it was gonna get talked about.
And that's the other thing too. Like, I guess between Damien's brain and your performance on that, again, I didn't realize. Like, I still think my favorite, as simple as it was, my favorite kill in the movie was John Abrams getting his face peeled off. Again, head trauma. But it didn't register again until the second viewing, because it was like, look what the fuck she's doing. And then I they went to the kill, and it was just like, no, wait, what the fuck is she doing?
I think you make a good point though, because a lot of people I think are so distracted by the shard of glass that like that kill is insane. Even his
Yes.
Amazing.
scream, it's like that whole scene to me. It actually I've said this before, but it's literally probably my favorite scene that I'm in the movie.
Okay.
So out of all of them, I'm like that. I mean, I love the final sequence, of course, but that scene, like the way it just moves in between, and I don't know, it's just so fucked up in like the best way.
Yeah.
It's just so dark, and then comedic at the end when David does this. But
Is that your favorite kill in the franchise?
it might be. It might actually be my favorite kill. I was actually thinking about it because I know that there's like he outdoes it every film, but I don't love what he did to Catherine. I don't love what he did Catherine Dawn's character or what he did to Allie. Those are brutal kills. So I wouldn't say those are my favorite kills, even though I understand they're masterfully done. But there's something about that scene, that darkness, that I just really like, and that them playing off of each other. It's just brutal.
Yeah. I guess going back to the wrestling thing, it was you were the pallbearer to his Undertaker. You were the mouthpiece for the carnage.
You know,
in this film, we needed each other. I think with Art and Vicky, they need each other, and or this entity that's possessed Vicky, they need each other to serve a purpose, and then they would have gone on their merry ways to wreak havoc, for sure.
the scene on the bus, right, with the cosplay with the other dude, like Art the Clown, you guys just sitting there, like, look at this fucking guy.
So ridiculous.
That was a great scene.
So good.
And then, all right. So for that scene, did Damien mention anything about the cosplayer, like having a definitely a stronger resemblance to the All Hallows Eve version of Art? Like, I don't know if that was supposed to be a throwback to that version of Art, or if it was. Okay,
we'll edit that out.
We're gonna have to harass him one day.
But no, I don't know about that. But no, that was fun to shoot for sure. But yeah.
For me, why I love Terrifier 3 so much and why it's so powerful. I love The Exorcist. I am a huge Exorcist fan. It's my favorite horror movie. And I think back to in 73 when The Exorcist came out, right, how powerful it was, right? The whole masturbation scene with the crucifix and everything. And it's like we had 50 years go by before someone else came along and shocked the shit.
Oh man, I didn't realize it that long. Jesus.
50 years, yeah, 1973.
Wild. That's a movie I have to rewatch, but scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I tried to watch it a second time. I was like, nope. It's weird, really odd, but with horror films, for some reason, possessions are the things that really skeeve me out. And then I happen to be possessed in this, but those are the films that scare the shit out of me. Exorcist is phenomenal, but it's terrifying.
Because I grew up Catholic, so to me that was like real, right? It's like, holy shit, I don't want to think about it too much because I don't want to fucking get possessed.
Well, I think that's the problem with me is I grew up Catholic too, so I definitely feel like, oh, this is possible. But look at me now. Look at the films that
you haven't got possessed yet.
Everyone thinks we're blasphemous, but Jamie and I were joking. We're like, we love Jesus. like if these films don't kind of like it feels blasphemous, but if you don't realize like there's a lot of Jesus loving in these films.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the way Uncle Greg was positioned on the wall. So that was a tribute to our Lord and Savior.
I'm talking about Sienna's character with the crown. Come on.
I'm decorating my Christmas tree the same way this year.
And almost in a twisted way, like Victoria does kind of have a similar arc to Reagan. Like they're just this innocent, everyday person.
Well, I love her character.
And gets more and more fucked up to the point where, is completely consumed by this entity. Now, all right, you may or may not have taken a few extra steps, but...
Did I? That's good, right?
A little bit.
You know what? I think I just made my decision. I am going to get a Vicky tattoo on my leg. When I start my leg sleeve,
listen,
going for it.
Get the one with the shard of glass. That moment. That's the
yes. Then I'll have you sign it and I'll just get the autograph tatted.
Beautiful.
Love it. So you mentioned horror conventions. Are you going to get made up? You and Art?
I think at some point. Yeah.
Because that would be awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely one that I think David's makeup's still extensive, takes less time. I think we're still trying to figure out which look and to what extent obviously would be from the third. But Yeah, no, it's definitely going to happen, but it's not
Oh,
going to happen as
I love
often.
it.
It might be like once or twice a year at most. I mean, in the next year or two. Um, but it will happen at some point for sure.
That is a photo op.
Yeah, but hey, with David, me, Amelie, and Lauren, that would be amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That'd be insane.
Yeah, we were at the Monster Mania in PA,
Oh, I
and
was
I
there.
and I know every time I went to go see you, the fucking line just was blown up. I did,
Wow.
out of everyone from the movie, I did manage to squeeze in and meet Elliot.
Oh,
But
good. Yeah,
but
because you were
every
right near
t
me then.
Yeah,
yeah,
you were
but
right next to him.
oh yeah, no, and then I was looking at the 100 people in line waiting to see you as I was talking to him.
You probably were just as surprised as I was.
Yeah, like I knew Damien and David were going to be packed, but the fact that like all of you for the most part, I mean, from what I remember, Elliot was pretty busy. I just happened to
Yeah.
glance over and there was like maybe a half dozen people. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm jumping in that now.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were kind of hoping to meet you as well, but I spent 3 hours in line to meet Shawnee Smith, so
He lost his whole day.
my legs were tired.
Those lines though were insane. I was so
Yeah.
impressed by how they ran that convention though, because I literally was just lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
It's a
was
huge
so-
warehouse.
Yeah, massive.
Yeah.
That was the biggest convention I'd ever been to, and I was yeah, it's wild the energy and the excitement because we were just at a convention and it's just, like the lines are insane. And it's kind of awesome because obviously, we're doing well, but also I really enjoy, it's going to sound like it's not genuine, but it is. I really enjoy talking to people at the convention, so I try to, not just like sign and then I try to actually have a conversation and ask people what about the films they love and that's like the only downside is it's kind of
Yeah.
just so intense. You don't really get to have that.
But you know what? I appreciate that, Samantha, that you take the time to do that, right? Because for these fans, that's an experience, right? They're seeing their icons on the screen, and now they're talking. And the fact that you take the time to chat and do that's awesome. That's
No, I mean, people are so kind. They come up and they express, like I said, some of the most vulnerable things, but also the excitement. I mean, it's weird. I've definitely shifted my perspective. I mean, like whenever I've been an actor and an artist, you can be subconsciously selfish, right? You're like, oh, I do this for me. I do this role because it's satisfies me and my artistry. And then all of a sudden you meet people where like you're part of a film that really touches them and you walk out of a theater and there's like an excitement in the air and they're smiling and you're like, no, I want to do that. Like it's less about me now and my bullshit.
Yeah.
But I want to like keep making people feel that way. So I get to have that experience and it really is maybe it is selfish that I'm like, ooh, this makes me feel good. but it's sweet. I mean, oh, I really am looking at this, but this guy Joe made this for me. Isn't that at the convention I was at? But he made a big
wow.
Oh, that's so awesome.
that is fucking
yeah, I didn't put it
awesome.
in my office yet, but he just gave it to me this past weekend. And I've always wanted a Funko Pop, and he literally hand carved the face,
Wow.
gave it to me, and all that work that he put into that just to give it to me I literally was just like got up and hugged him. I was like, that's the nicest thing anyone's ever done. So it's
Very talented. That looks amazing.
oh, it's amazing. It's unbelievable.
Is there any glass in there?
Well, we can get it. I can open it up. Make
Well,
some-
I don't know who else you've shown that to, but you have at least 4 sales, so tell them to get moving.
Yeah.
Get
I'd
that
buy one a
factory
second.
fired up. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I see you have some tattoos on your hand
Hmm.
and your arm. How many? You got a lot of tattoos?
Oh,
wow.
God.
Oh,
I
there we
won't
go.
show you these because these I want to get fixed. Nuh-uh. I have about the hands are 1 tattoo, 2, 3, 4. I have about 7.
Okay.
But I did them a while. I haven't gotten tattoos in a few years, so I definitely feel the urge and the craving to want to go. But I know that once I do it again, it will open a door. So I'm kind of trying to.
It's addicting.
It is.
Oh, I know.
You can't stop. I mean, I literally got 2 sleeves done in like 2.5 years.
Yeah. No, my dream is to fill my arm, but I'm like, I need to
Yeah.
chill out because I do. But these have all been impulse too, so I've gone in not knowing what I wanted, and
Yeah.
But
I did all Exorcist on this arm.
Oh, it's so good.
So everything is the Exorcist.
That's fucking insane. How long did that take though?
Phone was like 7 hours, 7, 8 hours.
Oh, I did my arm. This one took only 2.5 hours, and I was like, "Fuck that."
It's the inner arm where
Oh,
it's brutal.
Yeah. I was fine with like other parts, but the inner arm for some reason after the second hour, I was like, "No,
You bite your tongue.
Yeah. Last night when he was doing the wrist,
no."
here was like, oh God, it was so painful. I was just like, please let it end.
No, there's certain parts of my body that I was like, I'll definitely never get tattoos. I've heard about the ribs and not
Yeah.
on the feet.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't
Oh,
have that,
yeah.
that high of a pain tolerance. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
All right, JC, you want to do some rapid fire?
We want to do rapid
There you
fire?
go. We do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Love to do rapid fire. Let's
Okay, so when you rapid fire, does that mean I have to do the first thing that comes to mind, or
uh
I can like hesitate?
yeah, you could hesitate. I mean, the last rapid fire, I think it took like 20 minutes. It wasn't rapid at all. That was actually fucking
I just want to do it right. That's
And they
all.
were
I
all
just wanna do it
3-part
right.
questions
Yeah,
and things
it's
like
all
that.
three-part
but-
questions. Like, what's rapid about this?
What was your earliest childhood memory and why? And how did it make you feel?
All right, but we're gonna keep
Don't
this
have
one.
any.
We'll keep it short and sweet. So I've learned my lesson. So we just talked about this. So okay, you ready?
Yeah. Oh God.
All right. That one word that came to mind when reading the script and learning that you did what with that shard of glass? The initial word.
Fine. Sure. Great. Fucking let's go. I don't know.
Yeah. That one lost a little steam because we just got off that topic. So.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the one word though. The one word is what killed me. I'm like, sure.
Sure. There you go. Trooper. Your favorite cartoon growing up?
Oh man, Rugrats. I like
Okay.
Rugrats growing up.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
Stranded on an island and only one food to survive on. What is it?
Pasta.
Okay.
I don't know why this feels like it's that's I don't even eat it that often, but that feels right.
You know, I had carbonara for the first time. I'm 100% Italian. I had carbonara for the first time in my life like 4 years ago. And it was absolutely amazing. And I've never had it.
Well, what's weird is I don't think in an Italian household we've ever made it. I've had to get it at like a fancy restaurant or at a
Okay.
restaurant. Yeah. So
It's
was yours at
fantastic,
a
though.
restaurant or did you make
I was
it?
I was actually with my wife at a Sandals resort. So
Okay.
one of
so
the
that
restaurants
makes
out there.
sense.
So I got it. I was like,
'cause
holy
I
shit.
feel like I've only had it out. We never made that. We just had the spaghetti and meatballs growing up.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, simple, classic.
Okay. What Sirius radio channel is on in Samantha's vehicle?
Oh, I don't have a serious radio channel.
Okay. So what music? What station? What are you listening to?
You know what? I'm terrible at music nowadays. I only really listen to like oldies, whether it was like in my 20s or that's not even oldies, or like Fleetwood Mac and like
Okay. Chicago?
Chicago,
You like Chicago?
like the musical.
The music?
Yeah.
No.
No.
The band, not the city.
You said Fleetwood Mac. I
I
was
kind
trying
of
to go
was
to say.
joking. I'm good. No,
Okay.
I love the Dreams out the album. Never Going Back is one of my favorite songs.
Okay.
Also Queen, like I'm definitely like I like the classics.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely
right.
knew you didn't mean the Chicago musical.
I love how you hesitated when you said old because we're still coming to terms with listening to the oldies station and like Guns N' Roses is on there. So
Oh, wait, I'm in a weird. I feel like I was watching Riverdale like a couple of years ago, like just like an episode, and I was like, is it weird that like the dad is the guy I used to have a big crush on, but also the kid's kind of hot, but that might be inappropriate. Like I'm in that weird like space.
Yeah.
that in between age.
There's
Yeah,
no
I'm in a
judgment
weird,
here.
Like I don't know what to do anymore. But
I've
yeah.
turned 50 and everything went downhill from there.
Oh God, I don't know what 50 is gonna be like, but I'm 35 and I'm like, oof, it's already.
I'll be
going down.
52. I'll be 52 in
I think
February.
Terrifier. Wait, when are you turning 50?
52.
When?
February.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah. Getting
Yeah.
old.
I think Terrifier took about 10 years off my life, so
I'm doing it again. The rapid fire is.
this is why it lasts 20 minutes.
Out of fairness, I interrupted as well.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So, what song, when it comes on, makes you shut the windows of your car and break out into some loud karaoke?
Probably a Fleetwood Mac song. I mean, well, it's either Queen or Fleetwood Mac, but probably never gonna. Oh my God, I'm gonna butcher
Yeah,
it.
say Bohemian Rhapsody.
back.
You could say Bohemian Rhapsody.
Well, well, funny enough, when actually I have a memory of that at Christmas 2 years ago with my godson, and he was actually it was like 3 years ago. He was really little. He was like maybe like 3 or 4, and he was trying to learn the lyrics to that in the car. It was actually cute. But we had to scream over a certain part of it because there were certain parts that were inappropriate for him to hear. Bohemian Rhapsody, sure, we'll say that. But
Okay.
definitely. I have a memory of that.
Yeah, party on, Wayne.
So, wrestling fan, who wins in a steel cage match, Art or Victoria?
Ooh, I don't want to say Victoria, but
Without that damn Sienna and her funny little sword getting in the way.
I was thinking Victoria just because she's like all powerful and she makes him supernatural. But I also think her decaying body might get in the way. But I think she's probably
Yeah,
I hate
she'd
to
fuck
say
some
it.
shit up.
And you
Absolutely.
could also
Haven't
have
seen the ring?
you could also have a railroad spike in the ring as well.
A railroad.
Yeah.
No, don't put anything that's sharp in the ring. It'll distract me.
You could tag Jericho in if you lose and get him in there.
Do the
All
Walls
right.
of Jericho. Someone actually did a drawing of that, which was pretty amazing.
That's cool.
Of me doing the Walls of Jericho to Chris Jericho as Vicky.
That's awesome.
Oh, we got to get that at one of the conventions.
Oh,
I don't know
it's
if
so good. Someone drew it for me. It's actually really beautiful. It's like amazing.
I don't know if you got to wander around at Monster Mania, but they got the one guy who does like the mashup paintings.
Hmm.
He's pretty much at every convention that we go to, but he'll take like two characters from two completely different movies and kind of, mash them
Oh, wait,
together
that's
in this one draw. And it's really creative. Some of the things they do in there.
I avoid the
So-
vendors because I would just spend
Right.
like I already get gifts and then I've had to stay out of those rooms because I've come back with posters and
Oh yeah. Now, some days it's rough to walk
Yeah.
around there.
Lover of ice cream?
yeah, of course.
Okay. You have the ability to create your own signature flavor for Ben and Jerry. What would it be?
That's these are fucking complicated questions.
Oh, we've simplified it since the last time.
What flavor don't they have? I'm like, oh, this is gonna sound.
Carbonara ice cream?
Oh god, no! I just thought of this. I actually thought of like those Italian cookies.
That
You know,
comes in
like
the
the
sewing
rainbow?
kit.
No,
Oh,
the Italian
okay,
cookies,
yeah,
the rainbow,
yeah,
like the rainbow cookies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I was just trying to think of something they don't have already.
Okay.
But I do like those. Those are good.
We did actually have someone recently answer champagne,
Oh,
which I'd be curious to
It's
see how
interesting.
that plays out. Yeah.
That's interesting.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not really a drinker. Not for any reason. I just never got into it.
Mhm.
Got into it. Sounds weird, but yeah, no. That's why I was like, oh, but sweets, give me those.
Yeah. I would say brownie batter now that I know what was in that tub.
That's true. That's true. No, they have probably a brownie batter
That's
though.
true.
I'm trying
Yeah,
to be
they do.
creative.
Everything is brownie batter.
It's got to have flies in it too, though.
Oh,
Yeah.
and
no,
wood
well-
chips.
So, favorite Christmas gift you ever received?
Oh my god. Oh, oh my god, that's terrible. I have like no idea.
I apologize for the difficulty.
These are really challenging. You're trying to go back into my memory. I don't even remember before. I mean, it wasn't really my gift. It was my brother's gift when we were kids. I just remember it. We got like an air hockey table,
Okay.
which is
Okay.
really cool. That's the one I
Okay.
remember. It was my brother who got it. But my parents were funny because it was still when we believed in Santa. Well, I was like super young at the time. And it was in the garage. It still was in the box that got shipped through like UPS or something. So it was like obvious that Santa had delivered it. But it was a really cool air hockey table. That's the thing I remember.
Okay. One last one.
Hmm.
You have the power of persuasion to change one thing in this world. What would that one thing be?
Oh man, this is like I feel like I feel like if I don't answer this right, it's one thing in this world.
Power of persuasion, right? You can influence whatever the hell you want.
Oh man, I feel like this is where you're like a Miss Universe and you're like peace on earth. Which I really do feel that way. But
I want to possess every single motherfucker out there.
yeah, I just want there to be multiples of me so that there's peace. No, I mean it would always go to that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That I could somehow influence where everyone just
Chill the fuck out.
Influence
everyone fills
positivity in the
out
world,
and just
right?
let people live beautifully and peacefully.
Respect
Always.
one another. Be kind.
Amen. Listening to tune up our listening skills.
There you go.
We actually hear people.
There you go. Love it. Love it. All right.
Well, those
Well,
are some intense ones.
Yeah. You were a trooper. Thank you,
we're
Samantha.
still tweaking this whole thing. So
We're getting
No,
better.
I love it because I feel like it's rapid fire, so I've got to be quick, but I also they're thoughtful.
Yeah.
Some of them might be
The
profound.
funniest thing was we had David Howard Thornton on, and I think that was one of the first times we ran the rapid fire, and he blew right through it, and we were like, "Oh, this is super easy."
Yeah.
What was
That's why
that?
I
Like,
had
I'm
to-
curious.
I had to
Were
make
they
it
the
more
same
difficult.
questions or different ones?
Some of them were the same.
Yeah.
Well, one of the questions we asked him is, what was his favorite kill in the Terrifier franchise. And at that time, Terrifier 3 didn't come out. So he goes, you guys haven't fucking seen it yet.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
now we know.
I wonder what his favorite kill was, though. Did he say? Did he ever?
I believe he was hinting towards the one with Daniel Roebuck.
I was just gonna say that's funny because I asked that question out loud and he just answered it at a panel. He said it was Daniel Roebuck. They had so much fun that I remember shooting a week. It was absolutely miserable. I went home to recover, and then I come back. They had just shot that scene, and they're like, "Oh, we had the best fucking time. It was amazing. I've never had so much fun." I was like, "Fuck you all." But yeah, that was the scene for sure.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Samantha, listen, we don't want to take up any more of your time this evening. We absolutely appreciate you coming on. Thank you so very much.
No, I had so much fun. I appreciate you guys having me on. It's been a blast.
Any socials you want to put out there that they can find you?
Please.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. It's my first initial last name, so S Scaffidi. And I'm really bad at social media. That's all I have. I have like a Twitter and a TikTok only just as a landing page in case other people try to make it. But Instagram is, if I make announcements, I put them on there. So
all right. Any projects coming up?
I'm gonna have an announcement soon about where my short film, which is a psychological horror, one that I wrote and directed, will be.
Okay.
So it did festivals. It went to Fright Fest and Scream Fest and Nightmare Fest, and it's like rounding out the festivals, and then I can let people know where it will be online.
Awesome.
All right.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm excited to get it out there and then see what's next.
Cool.
And the name of it is
Open Your Eyes.
Open Your
Well,
Eyes.
Open Your Eyes, yeah. Psychological horror. For not being really into horror, here I am. Just can't get away.
For you, it was Open One Eye.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably why I fucking subconsciously named it that. I did not put two and two together.
That was you exercising the demons.
Listen, growing up Catholic, there's a lot of demons to be exorcised, so it's just the iceberg.
We hope to hook up on the convention circuit, seeing you out there. So that'd be great.
Love to see you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. You're amazing.
Thank you, Samantha.
Bye.
Appreciate it. Take care.
Listening to What an Excellent Day for a Podcast, where we use the number 4 to save you time. Check out our entire catalog at excellentdayforapodcast.com. Also on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Audible, and everywhere else you listen to podcasts. Have a question? Email us at excellentdayforapodcast@gmail.com.
But guys, I want to interact on social media.
Excellent.
See what we did there?
Follow us on Twitter at ExcellentDay4A. Otherwise, search for What an Excellent Day for a Podcast to get our Facebook page, our group page, Instagram, YouTube, and our newly launched Twitch channel. Come say hello, share them all,